The Walmart bakery is selling you a lot more than what's printed on the price tag. Right now, there are free perks and behind-the-scenes processes that most shoppers have never heard of, and that's costing you money every single time you walk up to that bakery counter. You'd be awesome if you subscribe and like this video. 1. The 1 pie per second record and the Patti LaBelle pie craze. $4. That's the entire price tag on the sweet potato pie that once shook up the whole grocery retail industry. The line called Patty's Good Life Pies used to be just another item on the shelf until a YouTube review video unexpectedly went viral back in 2015. Within days, that $4 pie turned into a cultural phenomenon nobody saw coming. The real numbers are even more impressive than the rumors. During the 72-hour rush right before Thanksgiving, Walmart bakeries sold an average of 1 pie every single second. In just that one weekend, sales topped $1 million, and that's actual recorded sales data, not some marketing spin cooked up after the fact. Even today, Walmart still sells around 36,000 of these pies on an average day, which works out to one leaving the shelf every 2 seconds. Total sales have crossed 65 million pies sold. If you've ever assumed showing up late still means there'll be pie left. Thanksgiving week is the one exception all year where this shelf can go completely empty within a few hours of opening. Here's a detail most people miss. Each of these pies runs about 8 inches across, enough for 8 servings at a medium-sized family gathering. Compare that to an 8-inch sweet potato pie ordered from a specialty bakery, where the price usually lands somewhere between $15 and $20 because of the hand-cooked filling and hand-rolled crust, and that $4 Walmart price tag is 4 to 5 times cheaper. That gap doesn't come from cutting corners on ingredients. It comes from large-scale production with centralized quality control, which you'll understand better once we get to the secret Bentonville test kitchen coming up. With an 8-inch pie selling for just $4, that works out to about 50 cents a serving, way lower than a single slice bought at a coffee shop or dessert counter, where one slice of pie alone can run you $3 to $5. Because that price difference is so small, buying less than you actually need barely makes sense. So during the holidays, this pie usually gets bought in pairs or sets of 3 per family gathering. If you're planning to grab a sweet potato pie for the upcoming holiday, don't wait until the last minute. Order ahead or buy at least a week early, because this is the one item in the whole Walmart bakery that sells fast enough to cause local shortages. This is about saving yourself a wasted trip, not saving money. But for a big family during the holidays, your time is worth just as much as your cash. But that number isn't even the most shocking thing about this bakery counter. There's a quiet policy that's been around for years, and it's saved plenty of families a good chunk of cash without most people ever knowing it existed. 2. Free smash cakes for first birthday parties. If your family has a first birthday coming up, there's a hidden perk you need to know about before you order the cake. Walmart runs a policy specifically for a baby's very first birthday party called the Smash Cake Program. When you order a custom birthday cake or a specialty cake worth $14.98 or more, the store throws in a free mini cake for the baby to dig into and destroy at the party. This freebie isn't some leftover scrap cake tossed in as an afterthought. It's designed to match the color scheme and theme of your main cake, so your whole photo set from the party looks as polished as if you'd booked everything through a private bakery. A typical smash cake usually runs about 4 to 6 inches across, small enough that a 1-year-old won't waste a ton of cake digging into it, but still with plenty of frosting for good photos. This is how Walmart builds loyalty with families who have young kids, since first birthdays tend to be an occasion where families spend more and keep coming back to order cakes for years after. From the second birthday party all the way to preschool graduation later on, compared to ordering both a main cake and a separate smash cake from a private bakery, the savings here are real. A smash cake made separately outside usually costs anywhere from $25 to $40 because of the handcrafted design work, and bakeries still charge a flat fee even for something that small since it's treated as its own order. Here, you just need to hit that $14.98 threshold on your main order, and the rest is free, meaning you're saving nearly double the value of your original order thanks to a policy hardly anyone thinks to ask about. Put that in context of everything else it costs to throw a full first birthday party, decorations, balloons, a photo backdrop, and that $25 to $40 you save on the smash cake is about what it costs to rent a themed photo backdrop or buy a full set of number balloons for the table. For families throwing a small party at home instead of renting a venue, that savings is enough to put toward fresh flowers for the main table without blowing the budget. The problem is barely any employees bring this up to new customers on their own, so if you don't ask, you could miss out entirely. Ask directly when you're at the bakery counter placing a first birthday order, ask specifically about the free smash cake that comes with your order, and confirm the current order threshold before you finalize anything, since this is the kind of internal policy that can vary by location. Ordering at least 3 to 5 days ahead also gives you enough time to make sure the smash cake's colors match whatever theme you picked, especially if you want the baby's name or age hand written on both cakes. 3. The trick of buying buttercream frosting separately to upgrade your cake at home. Not everyone knows Walmart actually sells pre-made buttercream frosting under the Freshness Guaranteed brand right at the bakery counter, completely separate from any cake. This is the ingredient that experienced home party planners use to turn a cheap cake into something that looks like it came from a custom bakery. A tub of this frosting typically holds about 16 ounces, enough to cover and decorate a whole 8-inch round cake or a small square sheet cake. Compared to buying pre-made decorating frosting in a can from the baking aisle, which tends to be heavy on sugar and artificial flavoring, the buttercream from the bakery counter usually has a smoother, softer texture, and it's easier to tint and whip up again at home with a hand mixer. The method itself isn't complicated. Buy a plain, basic layer cake for cheap at the bakery counter, then pick up a tub of that separate buttercream. At home, scrape off most of the original frosting layer, which people often complain is too sweet anyway. Brush a thin, simple syrup over the cake to add moisture, using a ratio of about equal parts sugar and warm water stirred until fully dissolved. Then frost it fresh with the buttercream you bought separately, adding food coloring if you want. What you end up with is a cake that's balanced on sweetness and looks great for a fraction of what a private bakery would charge. You'll notice this trick pays off because most of the cost of a decorated party cake comes from the hand-done decorating work, not the ingredients. When you handle the decorating yourself, you keep the reliably consistent industrial cake base, but you cut out the design service fee entirely, which can make up as much as half the price of a fully decorated cake at a specialty bakery. An 8-inch plain layer cake at the Walmart bakery usually falls into the cheapest tier of the cake section, and even adding a separate tub of buttercream, your total ingredient cost still comes in well below ordering a fully decorated cake of the same size from a specialty bakery. If you've never tried this, start with a low-stakes occasion to practice on first, like a family weekend get-together. Pick up a simple piping bag and a few basic tips. Star and petal shapes work fine, usually just a few dollars for a set in the baking aisle, and you can get the hang of an even frosting layer after just 1 or 2 tries. This is something home party planners have been passing along for years, but it doesn't get talked about much publicly since it doesn't add any decorating revenue for the store. Ever wonder why a Walmart loaf of bread in one state tastes exactly like the same loaf 1,000 miles away? The answer sits behind a door almost no customer has ever walked through. 4. The secret 12,000 square foot test kitchen in Bentonville. A lot of people assume Walmart just brings in pre-packaged goods from a factory and puts them straight on the shelf. That's wrong. Right at company headquarters in Bentonville, Arkansas, there's a culinary and innovation center spanning 12,000 square feet, built specifically to develop and test bakery recipes before they roll out to more than 4,700 stores nationwide. Inside this facility are 10 dedicated test kitchens, each one built to exactly mirror the real space and equipment found in an actual Walmart bakery. This isn't some abstract lab, it's practically a one-to-one copy of the bakery counter you visit every week, right down to the convection ovens, standard baking sheet sizes, and the layout of both room temperature and refrigerated display cases. Here, chefs work alongside dedicated taste testing panels around the clock, tasting, tweaking, and approving every recipe before it gets scaled up for mass production. Every new recipe typically goes through multiple rounds of testing, checking the moisture level of the cake base after 24 hours of storage, evaluating how well the frosting holds its shape after shipping, and remeasuring sweetness to match broad customer taste before a final recipe gets locked in and sent to regional manufacturing plants. This process is exactly why you can buy a loaf of bread or a donut at your local store, travel to another state, buy the same product, and notice the flavor barely changes. With more than 4,700 locations spread across different climates and water supplies, keeping that kind of consistency isn't easy, since the same recipe can bake up differently depending on local humidity and flour quality. Very few retail chains invest in a dedicated facility just to solve that problem. Most competitors rely on a written recipe standard without any real-world simulation kitchen like this one. Picture the scale of these 10 kitchens another way. Each one is roughly the size of a mid-sized commercial kitchen, big enough to run multiple testing lines side by side at once, fresh bread, packaged sweets, custom birthday cakes, all at the same time. That side-by-side setup lets the taste panel directly compare the old and new versions of a recipe under identical baking conditions instead of testing one line at a time, which cuts down significantly on how long it takes a new recipe to go from idea to store shelf. That's also why, when Walmart launches a new bakery item, you rarely end up with something bad right out of the gate, since it's already been taste tested and refined through multiple rounds before it ever reaches shelves nationwide. If you've ever doubted whether mass-produced bakery goods could really be consistent, that's your answer right there. 5. Ordering a custom photo cake through the app in 9 steps. If you need a photo cake for a birthday party or a graduation, there's a much faster way to order than calling ahead or standing in line. Walmart has built a full 9-step cake design process right into the mobile app, letting you pick the size, flavor, decoration style, and upload a photo to be printed directly using edible ink technology called frosting sheets, all in just a few minutes. The most notable part is the price. A finished photo cake typically runs under $20, considerably lower than ordering a photo cake from a specialty bakery outside, where design and printing fees can double the cost, sometimes charging $8 to $12 just for the photo print on top of the base cake price. Thanks to that affordable price paired with a convenient online ordering process, Walmart bakeries process millions of birthday and graduation cake orders every year, making it the widest-reaching network for personalized event cakes in the country. The fastest way to use this feature is simple, but plenty of people miss it because they don't know it's even in the app. Open the Walmart app, find the cake ordering section, and follow the 9 steps, choosing size, shape, cake flavor, frosting type, border color, message text, and finally uploading the photo you want printed. The whole thing takes less than 10 minutes, and you can preview the cake image before confirming your order, avoiding the risk of getting a cake that isn't what you wanted, something that used to happen a lot when orders were placed by phone with a verbal description. One thing to keep in mind is that the photo printed on frosting sheets needs to be high enough resolution that it doesn't come out blurry at a larger size. Ideally, an original photo that hasn't been through multiple rounds of compression, and you should order at least 1 to 2 days ahead, especially during late spring graduation season when order volume spikes and same-day pickup slots can fill up fast. If you've ever paid double just to get a photo printed on a cake at a specialty shop, this is clearly the smarter option on both price and wait time. 6. Customizing cakes and cupcakes your own way. Contrary to what most shoppers assume, that the cakes in the display case are all you get, the Walmart bakery actually allows for a lot more customization than that. From cake flavor to frosting color to the overall design of cakes and cupcakes, you have real choices instead of being stuck with whatever's already built and sitting in the case. The biggest difference compared to ordering from a private bakery comes down to speed and cost. A custom cake from a specialty bakery usually requires ordering a full week ahead and charges a separate design fee for every detail, which can add anywhere from $15 to $30 depending on how complicated the design is. At the Walmart bakery counter, on the other hand, you can talk directly with staff or order online. Choose from a list of available flavors and frosting colors and get your cake in just a day or two without paying any extra design fee, even if you ask for handwritten text or themed frosting decorations. With cupcakes, There's even more flexibility since these are ordered in bulk batches, great for office parties, class reunions, or school events. A dozen decorated cupcakes usually costs a lot less than buying that many individually from a small bakery, where each elaborately decorated cupcake can run nearly a third the price of a full dozen here. You can request different frosting colors mixed within the same dozen, making your table look more lively without placing several separate orders, a detail plenty of people miss because they assume cupcakes only come in a few fixed designs. Beyond frosting color and text, there's one detail almost nobody takes advantage of. You can request a different type of frosting entirely, switching from standard buttercream to a richer cream cheese frosting for anyone who isn't a fan of overly sweet flavors, or asking for less sugar sprinkles on top if there'll be young kids at the party who get overwhelmed by too much sugar. These small adjustments usually don't cost extra, but most customers never ask, so they never realize they even have that option. The key is always asking about the minimum lead time for a custom cake at your local store, since that number can vary based on store size and how busy the season is. During heavy order periods like graduation season or the holidays, ordering a few days earlier than usual helps guarantee you get the exact frosting color and design you want, instead of settling for whatever's available at the last minute. If your local store has a larger bakery section, chances are your wait time will be shorter than at a smaller location with just 1 or 2 decorators on staff. But that flavor consistency across thousands of stores isn't just luck. There's a strict internal process behind every recipe before it ever reaches the shelf near you. 7. The taste panel and 60 new products a year. Behind the everyday look of the Walmart bakery counter is a quality control process far more structured than most people realize. Before any new cake recipe goes into mass production for distribution across the store network, it has to go through multiple rounds of evaluation by dedicated taste testing panels, reviewing flavor, cake structure, and shelf life before final approval, usually including freshness testing at both the 3-day and 7-day mark to determine the sell-by date printed on the packaging. Alongside keeping quality consistent, the company also constantly refreshes its product lineup to keep up with market trends. On average, about 60 new items get added to the bakery every year, from pumpkin muffins for fall to vanilla latte muffins to the dessert square-style bars that have gotten popular lately. That's not a small number for a retail chain this size, averaging out to more than 1 new product launching every single week, since every new item goes through the same strict testing process before launch, no steps skipped. This gives you a double benefit when you're shopping. On one hand, you're guaranteed that whatever familiar product you buy, the flavor stays consistent over time without quietly getting changed to cut costs. On the other hand, you always get the chance to try something new each season without paying the premium prices specialty bakeries usually charge for limited items, since new products here still fall within the same affordable price range as the rest of the bakery. It's also worth knowing that not all 60 new products each year stick around long term. Some of them are treated as market tests, sold only in certain regions or for a short window to gauge customer reaction before deciding whether to roll it out across all 4,700 stores. That's why you sometimes find something tasty at one location that isn't available at another. And it's also why, if you like a new product, you're better off buying it soon before it quietly gets swapped out for the next version. Here's a tip: check the bakery counter more often at the start of each season, especially early fall and the end of the year, since that's when the new product lineup tends to get updated the most. Don't be shy about asking staff if anything new launched that month, since a lot of seasonal items only stick around for about 6 to 8 weeks before getting pulled to make room for the next round. 8. A constant rotation of new products all year long. One reason there's always something new to discover at the Walmart bakery counter comes down to how fast products rotate. From regional specialty breads to seasonal holiday desserts, the lineup here doesn't sit still. It keeps refreshing to keep customers coming back more often. If you've ever assumed buying cake from a big retail chain means settling for the same boring options, the reality is the opposite. Because of the scale and the structured product development process covered earlier, this bakery has the resources to test more new product lines than most independent bakeries, which usually stick to just a handful of set recipes because of limited production capacity and the cost of developing new ones. Right now, we're only about 5 weeks out from Labor Day, and this is usually when the Walmart bakery starts rolling out new birthday cakes and outdoor party cakes for the end of summer cookout season. If you're thinking about ordering a cake for a family event around this time, now's a good time to check out the new lineup, since seasonal designs usually only stick around for a short window before getting swapped for the next theme, heading into back-to-school season, when demand shifts toward cakes celebrating the start of the new school year. Looking at the yearly seasonal cycle makes the pace clear. Right after Labor Day, the bakery shelves shift toward back-to-school and fall pumpkin themes, then Halloween with pumpkin and spooky decorated cakes, then Thanksgiving with the pie craze we talked about earlier hitting its peak, and finally the year wraps up with Christmas, bringing Yule logs and peppermint decorated cakes. Instead of only stopping by the bakery counter when you have a specific need, treat browsing that section every time you shop as a way to not miss out on new seasonal items being tested. Since a lot of seasonal products don't stick around long, regular shoppers always have the edge over people who only stop by once or twice a year. Now you know why the bread tastes the same no matter which store you're in, why you can ask for a free smash cake, and why grabbing an extra tub of buttercream is so much cheaper than ordering from a private bakery. Use these tips right, and you'll get genuinely better cake while avoiding wasted money every time you visit that counter. Next time you order a birthday cake, are you going to ask the staff straight out about that free smash cake policy on orders over $14.98?